Thank you for joining us tonight. We are joined by Adam Flex Maxted. Hello, man. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Delighted to be on. Finally, we had to reschedule a couple of times, but it's good to get it done finally. So, looking forward to chatting to you guys.
Yeah, awesome, man. We've been looking forward to getting you on. We've followed your work, especially in NJPW, for a long time. So, absolute pleasure to get you on and speak with you today.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I said we'll always work around you. It's you're giving us your time, and we appreciate that more than you know. So it's a pleasure.
Especially during lockdowns and stuff, it's just cool to speak about wrestling and things and get that motivation, because obviously I'm not wrestling at the moment, so
yeah,
I'm watching a lot of wrestling still, but to be able to talk about it and stuff just kind of gives you that little lift and gets you looking forward to being able to get back to hopefully doing it.
So how was it? That's what I was going to ask. How has it been for you? You're used to wrestling, a busy schedule. You're a busy man, and obviously you're in good shape. So I'm guessing you've still been keeping busy. But how has it been for you? Have you been managing to stay as active as you'd like, or?
No, honestly, it has been tough because before COVID hit and stuff, I felt like I was really starting to build some momentum and things, and as you say, I wrestled a lot for NJPW out on the Butlins camps, and that was 5-6 days a week sometimes, and we were traveling all over the place, and that took up a big chunk of my year. Was because anytime the kids were off school in the UK, I was wrestling flat out, and that's the reason why I kind of made the improvements that I have in quite a short space of time, just because I was wrestling so much. And then before that, I was starting to get some big matches in OTT and ICW and things, and trying to break away from just being labeled as you're just a Butlins wrestler, you're just that camp style wrestler. And like I said before, there's nothing wrong with that, because it's the reason that I got better, and I love that style as well. But I needed those matches to get me on the radar with the internet fans and things, for example, because they obviously follow these big promotions and they don't see the sort of Butlin stuff. Yeah. So to now have all that kind of put on halt it's just been frustrating. But everyone's in the same position, so it's not like people are getting ahead of me and stuff. We're all kind of, unless you're in NXT UK and stuff, you're still wrestling. But that kind of helps me know that people aren't out there still wrestling while I'm not. And I guess, like you say, just trying to stay in the best shape that I can and doing home workouts and things, and so that whenever I can wrestle again, I'm ready to go again.
I was going to ask you. You mentioned obviously working on the Butlin scene and stuff. People don't realise how important that is. I mean, how important was that to you to learn your craft? I mean, working that scene.
It was crucial. Especially NJPW. I'm in there with Nathan Cruz, Rampage Brown, Justin Sizen, Robbie X, some of the best talents, in the UK. Kip Sabian, he's now in AEW. Guys like that I was able to wrestle every night, and not just NJPW, because I also wrestle for All Star, and I was able to wrestle and Joel Redman and Dean Allmark, James Mason, Spitty and stuff. So guys like that whenever I finished my match, I was then stood on the side watching just these guys that had been wrestling 15, 20 years out there and trying to pick their brains and things. And like I say, I wouldn't have made the progress in the short space of time that I have if it wasn't for those matches. And some wrestlers, it's not their goal to wrestle that style or do those shows, but I honestly think it's invaluable to anyone, because just like the gym, for example, the more reps you're doing, the more you're doing it, the better you're going to get. And that's what I mean. Before lockdown started, that's when I really started to feel like I was starting to be confident in myself and feel comfortable. I wasn't, as nervous. Obviously, I still got nervous for big matches and things, but I believed in myself and my ability and how I could perform in the ring, because I was just doing it 6 days a week, so I didn't know anything else.
Well, that's what I've heard from Nathan Cruz too. I've known Nathan since we used to backyard together, so it's seen his progression has been incredible. But he didn't really become Nathan until he hit the camp shows and he was doing All Star. As soon as he hit All Star, he just became an incredible talent, and he credits that to Dean Allmark, for example, really taking him under his wing and showing him, the way to wrestle for a family crowd and how that opens your eyes. And to be fair, Nathan's even said about you when we had him on the show, you're one of the hardest workers too, that you really do absorb everything that you watch. And he said you don't get enough credit for it. You are one of those talents that's going to do well because you just pay attention to everything. And I'm guessing the camp shows have really opened your eyes up to that different way of working, where if you can make a a crowd of 2,000 people who are just casual wrestling fans cheer for you, you've done something right. And that's not an easy task.
No, like there's like this is the truth. Like I've had nights at Butlins, for example, where like kids in the front row and stuff have actually been crying. Like when I've lost a match and stuff, that's how they are in me as a character and like what I'm doing out there. And usually I'm wrestling Nathan or Lucas Steele, like these, you know, great performers as well. But I think it just, like I say, some wrestlers have no ambition to wrestle that style. But, you know, when you look at internet fans or like the over 18 crowds, it's just go out there, focus on your opponent and just do your match, do all these crazy spots, get the "this is awesome" chant. Whereas when you're wrestling like a family crowd at Butlins or an all-star, you've got to invest the crowd, you've got to work to the crowd, or else they're not going to get involved at all. You're going to get no reactions. And I think that's why, you know, wrestling that style is so important, because not only am I able to go to an ICW and wrestle in front of an adult crowd and have more fun there because they're giving me some jip or whatever and I can give it back to them, but then having, you know, the repertoire of being able to then wrestle in front of a family crowd. You know, I'm doing different styles, like whether I'm being the cocky, arrogant, like heel full of myself in front of an adult crowd, then I can be, you know, the baby face that the crowd want to get behind at a Butlins, for example. And just to have kids crying and stuff, and you see how much their parents come up to them after, and they tell you so much how their kids enjoyed it, and that was the best feeling, just really seeing how much the crowd enjoyed it. And like you say, you know, we would do a similar show like most of the nights, but all of us would sit behind the curtain and watch the match. We knew what was going to happen, we knew how things went, but we maybe thought, okay, well, if I watch Nathan in this part of the match, I'm maybe going to pick someone up that he's doing different tonight. Or you go out there and try different things and just see if it works, if it doesn't work, if the crowd react to different stuff. And that's what I mean, how I really like picked a lot of stuff up in like it was like a crash course of wrestling. I was just wrestling so much, and not like it was rushed or anything, but I just couldn't recommend it to anyone. If anyone's struggling to get themselves out there and they want to improve, wrestling like a good summer run, you know, for All Star or is going to do you. It's invaluable, honestly.
I've got to ask you, everyone we get on from All Star or who has wrestled for All Star extensively, we always ask them, can you do a Brian Dixon impression?
Oh, goodness. Well, Nathan's is incredible.
That's why I asked, because Nathan is so good.
But,
it's like he's in the room when Nathan does it.
A funny story. Brian has never called me Adam. He is always just going, okay then, Love Island, here you go then, there's your paycheck, Love Island.
That was really good.
Well, because I'm so used to hearing that, and he's never once said Adam. He just calls me Love Island. He writes on my paycheck. He writes on my envelope, Love Island. Like, he's never said Adam. And so that's why I picked that up. Okay then, Love Island. Okay then, there's your paycheck. Yes, good man.
That might be the second best impression we've had apart from Nathan's. I love it.
That's good.
We've got everyone that comes on. We ask him. We asked Dean Allmark, and he was too shy to do it. He was like, I can't do it.
Another story that happened recently. Brian, I was down with Dean Allmark because we were heading to an All-Star show. Brian says, Adam, they've got a trampoline park, a family trampoline park. Brian says, Adam, would you mind coming to the trampoline park and just showing your face? Within 10 minutes, I was in a full Batman suit walking around the trampoline park for the kids, dressed as Batman. And again, Brian's just like, good man, good man, yes, brilliant, yes, that's great. So yeah.
I've never heard a story about Brian Dixon that hasn't made me cry with laughter. Like, he just sounds like
Brian's hilarious.
He sounds like such a funny guy, intentionally or unintentionally. Is just so much fun to be around.
Yeah. He is.
While we mentioned the guy, obviously we spoke to Dean Allmark. He said you've been around Dean as well. I mean, what's it like being around Dean Allmark? Because he's such a talented guy. I mean, you must have learnt a lot from Dean.
He's just so underrated as well. Like, I feel like all this, he was starting to have like a resurgence of his career, because he was starting to get these like more indie, bigger crowd, because obviously he wrestles so much at All Star, and the crowd love him. He's like the crowd favorite. But he's really starting to like have matches with like Joe Nelson and people, these young guys coming up, and like obviously their styles were meshing, because Dean can do everything. Do you know what I mean? And you know, outside of the ring, Dean is just one of the nicest guys that I've met in wrestling. He's always looked out for me and stuff, and I speak to him regularly and stuff just to keep in touch. And you know, obviously I've been down to his training school and stuff a few times, and I just love hanging out with him and stuff. But yeah, he's just such a talented guy, and kind of not like just disappointed that he hasn't gone on to do bigger things, because he has the potential, and the he just deserves a big opportunity, and hopefully he was starting to make those waves, and he's still doing stuff. So maybe when the world goes back to normal, he can get himself out there again more.
I think he will do, and like you said, he was just starting to get those independent bookings where it was like a bit more of the hardcore crowd opposed to like the family crowd. And he said like he was really excited to be doing more of those, because I think if you're a fan of Dean Allmark, or you've wrestled Dean Allmark, you know how good he is. But I think he's so good, sometimes it kind of goes unnoticed. Because he's just done primarily All-Star. A lot of fans just think, oh, it's family stuff, it's not very good wrestling, when in fact it is very good wrestling.
Very good wrestling.
I like 5 days a week sometimes, if not more.
I should have watched him and James Mason just go out there and just trade hole for holes, like for 20 minutes, but yet they're keeping a child audience interested.
That's crazy.
They're wrestling, they're not doing anything crazy, they're just doing stuff, but they're doing it in such a charismatic way, and such an intense way that invested. They're not getting bored of it, because it's the same kind of stuff.
That's an art form.
Like James Mason as well, like the cardio on that man is insane for how long he's been doing it. And Joel Redmond as well is another guy that should be getting out more. Obviously he went to NXT, came back, is starting to get some Rev Pro stuff. But I mean, he's a machine in the ring as well, and obviously great shape stuff as well. So it's just like you say, been invaluable to watch guys like that, and NJPW guys as well. Rampage, Nathan, and obviously get in there working with them stuff to help me improve as well.
Is that what you want to do as well next then? Like Dean Allmark was getting those independent bookings. You said like you're wanting to get some of those bookings as well now with the more hardcore fans, so to speak. Is there anyone in particular that like you're looking to get into, you think would be a really good foot in the door for you to show everyone like, I can do the family wrestling style, the All-Star style, but I'm also, to be taken seriously in another style of wrestling?
Yeah, well, like ICW is obviously one of the biggest. I've had a few tag matches there with Kings of the North, but recently I was starting to get my own kind of little singles run and stuff, so I feel like that was going well. Obviously, that's quite a hardcore, savage, adult crowd. They're standing there with their beer, and they'll not hold back. They'll say whatever they want to say. Like, usually they stand there and they call me Love Island Wanker, usually when I'm in the ring, and the whole audience is chanting that, and sorry if we've got to bleep that out, but and like obviously OTT OTT is one of the biggest companies in Europe now, so I've just won a championship there, their gender neutral championship, before COVID and stuff happened. So they're two big kind of hardcore internet fan companies that I am wrestling for. But in the UK, probably it would just be like a Rev Pro, or maybe like a North up here in the Northeast to maybe get into. But I'm very happy with how busy I have been, and the debut matches that I have had at some of these kind of older adult crowd, over 18 shows that I have. I feel like I've been given opportunities and good opponents, and I've went out there and done well and delivered.
Yeah, I feel like you're another one of these talents though who, like in kind of the same way that Dean Allmark, people don't realize how good he is because of All Star. They think he can just wrestle one style. I feel like with you, you're such a good heel at times. Like you've got that Love Island background, and people might give you a stigma of, he was on Love Island, that means he can't be a wrestler. When in fact, you're an incredible wrestler, and you've got a great look, and you've got all the tools to potentially be in any company in the world. Like, do you feel like there was a stigma at one point where it was just, he can't be a wrestler because he was on Love Island?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it was really only recently, like the past year or 6 months, that before this pandemic stuff happened, that was what I was still labeled as. Obviously I get it. I would use a TV show. No one, usually a young guy will start training, and they'll start getting some trainee matches, and then they'll maybe get a debut on a show, and crowds will start seeing, who's this guy? Oh, we better keep an eye out for him. Whereas I was just catapulted straight away into the UK scene. I did Love Island. People didn't know even before Love Island, I was back in Ireland. I just had a couple of matches. I was training all the time. I was wrestling before I did that show. But I think fans just thought, who's this guy? He thinks he can just use a TV show to walk into our business and think that he can do this. And obviously I was green. I wasn't ready for a lot of the opportunities that I was getting as soon as I finished that show. But just hard work and dedication over the past couple of years, and like I say, getting those reps in, I've now started to change people's opinions of me. But there definitely was a really strong stigma, and obviously Twitter is savage these days for wrestling fans, their opinions, and there was a lot of the times that I'd have a match that I thought, you know, maybe went okay, and then I go on and see what the fans have written, and I'd be like, okay, well, maybe I'm not doing okay, and I didn't let that get, like, it's not that I got a chip on my shoulder, but I was like, you know, this is what people are thinking of me, so I'll show them, I'll do the work. Yeah, it's going to take a bit of time, but, you know, it's one of the hardest things to do is be a pro wrestler, like, to be an all-rounder. So I'm glad that sort of towards the past kind of year, I've really had those big opportunities, and it's thanks to the ICWs and the OTTs. Like, at OTT, I've wrestled like Pete Dunne, Pac, Mark Haskins, people like that everyone knows, and I've held my own in those matches and learned from them. And, you know, Joe, who books OTT, for example, he wouldn't give me those chances if he didn't think that I could, you know, at least deliver. And then obviously win the championship and stuff there. So yeah, there was a stigma, definitely, but it just motivated me to work hard, and I'll continue to do that because there's still a lot of fans in the UK and the world that haven't seen me. And if they go on YouTube, some of my matches are definitely from a couple of years ago, and I cringe when I see them. I'm like,
right.
You know, if someone Googles my name or YouTube, they're going to think that that's the standard that I'm at, whereas I know that I'm better than that now. So, you know, I'll just constantly keep working to get better and, you know, improve and make an impact through hard work and dedication.
How much did World of Sport help you? I mean, you wrestled with World of Sport in 2018. You got to team with Nathan Cruz. I really enjoyed World of Sport as a product, and I feel like it was a very underrated product. A lot of people didn't like the production, but I think regardless of that, it was a great product in the ring. And I think you and Nathan were an awesome team. You could tell you were having fun with it. What was that like for you wrestling World of Sport? Do you feel like that helped get rid of any of the stigma that you mentioned previously?
You know, because I was able to have matches on TV and to a wider audience, so people, you know, obviously on commentary it was always the Love Island star was getting put over, but, you know, then I'm in there again, like Doug Williams and people, and, you know, tag with Nathan, like, because of how good he is, I was able to, like, on the apron, learn from him and things, so yeah, it was cool to get exposure and stuff. And then obviously we broke up as a tag team, and I was able to have some single stuff, and like we had a really good ladder match that I, you know, loved, and which kind of showed, you know, my athleticism and stuff. And then, you know, going from that to then the live tour, where we were told, you know, well, you'll maybe do 2 or 3 ladder matches, and I was like, no, let's do one like every night because I love them that much. You know, I just love a ladder match, especially with Nathan. Like, we've got good chemistry and stuff, and we would pinch off each other ideas and things. And I felt like the WS thing, it definitely, there was something there, you know, like how busy the tour was. And, you know, if NXT UK is going to be for the hardcore, they want to see that, you know, indie, crazy Walter matches and stuff like that, that's fine. But there was definitely something there for children and families to tune in on a Saturday or Sunday afternoon and watch. And that was pretty thinking the tour. But for whatever reasons, you know, obviously people got signed then towards the end of the tour. You know, a lot of people moved to NXT UK, and that's fine. Obviously, there's no guarantee with the WS thing, so you've got to think about financial security and, you know, the next step in your career, and I get that. But it's just sad that it had to come to an end because there was definitely something there. But again, like, anything that's happened in the UK scene, apart from like NXT UK at the moment, I've been a part of, and it's just been cool to look back and think of like what I have done in quite a short space of time. You know, but I don't think, I feel like I transitioned from promoters and companies booking me for just the Love Island thing. They were like, no, this guy has the potential, he's getting better, so we want to use him. Because the draw of Love Island was gone, you know, like within a year or so. People didn't know, and it was like, no, this guy's going to hopefully go on to do something, and he's putting in the work. So, you know, that's why I've stayed relevant. I've stayed on the scene and stuff.
How has it been as well? Obviously, you mentioned, like, obviously you've been in the ring with Mark Haskins, Pac, guys like that. You also was in the ring with Grado. I mean, what was it like being in the ring with Grado? I mean, do you enjoy that comedic side as well?
Yeah, like, I mean, Grado's hilarious in and outside the ring. I mean, he's had, me and my girlfriend went for a Nando's with him actually, and Rampage was there as well. And, you know, the server came over to ask us how our food was, and he was like, rotten! Like, he said it was rotten, and like, we just all were belly laughing and in tears, and the guy was taking it seriously. But that's just Grado. He's just always having fun, and what you see in the ring is how he is outside of it. But, you know, in the beginning, like, yeah, that was fun, but I feel like I've wanted to do less of the comedy stuff as I've kind of taken myself more seriously. And I definitely feel like, you know, if there's ideas and stuff for a match or whatever that I feel like might expose things a bit, I'm kind of a bit reluctant now, because I just want to, not that I don't want to have fun, but I just want to be taken like as a serious competitor, as a wrestler, especially when it's like my height and my size. If I'm doing stuff that's overly exposing that and stuff, I'll kind of be like, you know, would this make sense or would this look legitimate when you have a guy that's like 6'2" and, you know, like 16 stone and stuff. But, you know, Grado, you know, he's just, what a guy.
He's hilarious, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's one of those guys who kind of, I don't know, like even the work he did for Impact, I feel like he should have been kept on at Impact, because that guy is funny in any country. He's so good at physical comedy. He's like a Colt Cabana, for example,
sure.
Who can do that physical comedy in a match, but still be taken seriously. Like if he gets a pin on somebody, you don't think, oh, that's stupid. You believe it. So he's still taken seriously as a good wrestler, but also hilarious at the same time. And I think that must be one of the hardest things to do in wrestling. Be funny and taken seriously.
He gets a crowd behind him as soon as he walks out. You know what I mean? Like they're with him. Like sometimes you got to work for it. You know, you walk out and some people are, you know, it takes a while to maybe hit your first couple of moves, and then people are like, oh yeah, this guy's good. But as soon as Grado walks out, the people are there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like when he comes out to Madonna, for example. Incredible. I mean, 20,000 people singing along with him. Yeah.
Really. Another thing as well. I mean, you said obviously, you know, taking the business serious. You've wrestled around the world. I mean, you wrestled in Pakistan. I mean, what was that experience like? I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah, I remember I was in the gym one night, and Joe that runs OTT, he just messaged me and says, hey, pal, you want to go to Pakistan and wrestle? And this was like a year and a half into my wrestling career, and I was like, absolutely, come on.
Yeah.
So, you know, it all got confirmed and stuff, and it was quite a strange, you know, situation, because we didn't really get to leave the hotels and stuff when we were there, because like we were kind of armed guards the whole time. They had to come with us to the gym and everything, because like I didn't know or don't know if crime's very big in Pakistan and stuff, but they just wanted to look after us and stuff. But again, so early in my career to have the opportunity to go to Pakistan and wrestle, and like Carlito's there, and like, you know, Chris Masters and former WWE people, and Melissa Santos, who's like the ring announcer for Lucha Underground at the time and stuff, and it was just I just wanted to wrestle as much as possible. So if that meant going to Pakistan, flying all the way there, and just having a few nights, I think I only had like 4 or 5 matches, and the money wasn't that good, but it wasn't about that. It was just, I want to wrestle as much as I can. So the only way I'm going to get better is being in the ring as much as possible. So, you know, it was definitely worth the experience. It's something that I didn't get Delhi Belly. Luckily, a few of the guys got sick when they were there. I didn't. So it was all exclusive hotels and things, and we were treated really well. So it was a cool experience, definitely.
I remember seeing on Instagram, I think it was Carlito's Instagram, a picture of them getting off the plane or at the airport, and I think you were there in the picture. And I remember thinking, that's awesome. Adam Maxted, you know, like representing the UK in Pakistan. It's such a weird like group. It was Carlito, Chris Masters, Adam Maxted in Pakistan. Everything about it was a bit surreal, but awesome at the same time. And you got to team with Carlito, I believe. Carlito has always been one of my favorites. I really want him to come back at some point to a major promotion. But was that a cool experience, getting to team with Carlito?
Yeah, because that's the first time I think I'd met him as well. And, you know, the kid inside me is like, I'm about to walk out and tag with Carlito, who, you know, I used to sit on TV and watch. So, like, just stuff like that is, you just, like, pinch yourself and you think, like, okay, I'm on the right track, you know, stuff's happening, because moments are happening. And like, talk about a learning experience. Like the first match I had over there, I whipped the guy into the buckle, and the top rope came off, and that's the first experience that had happened to me. So like, I definitely did stutter for like a split second, but then I think I just kicked the guy in the stomach and hit a suplex. So like, talk about a learning experience. Like, that hadn't happened to me before. The first time the ring kind of messes up, and it's like, okay, how do I get around this? And luckily, while we still did a couple of other things, like some guy was fixing the ropes, but just had to think on my feet. So just stuff like that. Just if that happened again, I would know how to just be there straight away, for example.
It's a learning curve, isn't it?
Stuff like that. It was actually on a Pakistan news thing. I remember seeing that they showed the video of the ring breaking and stuff, and it was cool. Like, but just all these little things just help you. You just add that stuff to your repertoire and have it in their back pocket in case something like that does happen before.
And obviously, you had the WWE Trial. How did that come about, and what was it like? Because you hear stories of it being, you know, the tryouts are brutal. I mean, what was it like?
So yeah, like I was in the car with my girlfriend, and we were traveling to the first WrestleMania that I've been to, which would have been in Orlando, whatever one that was, 30.
Is that 34?
Possibly, when Undertaker wrestled Roman, and yeah. So we were heading to the airport, and the email came through that I'd been offered a tryout. So I'm sitting there like, wow, like I'm heading out to watch the company that I'm potentially going to try out for in a couple of months. So obviously that motivated me, and like the tryout itself, it wasn't like physically wise, I was fine because I train and I'm fit, and obviously I'm doing more to prepare for it and stuff. But probably match wise, I wasn't ready for, like, I had to have a match with Josh Bodum, for example, and obviously he was more experienced than me, so it was his chance to kind of show what he could do. So I feel like it wasn't my place to be like, oh, can I do this? Can I do this? I feel like he took the lead and kind of just structured the match probably around him, which I didn't realize at the time and stuff, because I was just like, okay, cool, like, yeah, we'll do that. And then I had the chance to do a promo, and I think the promo went okay. Like, William Regal was like, Matt Bloom's the hard cam, please just stare at his head and do your promo, which is intimidating. And we're in the O2 Arena, and, you know, Canyon Siemens there, and Regal, and, you know, the Progress guys, and Matt Bloom, and then the whole line of your peers are stood watching, because we were told when we first came in that we'd just be taken to a room privately, and it would just be Regal, and we could just do our promo, and obviously, you know, your peers aren't standing there watching. So it was pretty daunting. We finished doing some drills in the ring, and then Mr. Regal was like, right, okay, promos, guys, we're going to do promos. And we're all like, oh, crap, like, what do we, you know? So, like, I was happy with how the promo, or the try went in general. And there were some guys that were saying to me, you know, if anyone's going to get signed from this, it's probably going to be you, because you're not that experienced, and they could take you, like how I look, they could take you to Orlando and, like, mold you into whatever they want. So I guess, like, part of me thought, like, this is going to happen. I'm going to get that Florida dream and be shipped off the Performance Center. And, like, it didn't happen. And, you know, I probably did get down for a couple of days after, or whenever I saw that people had been offered things. But then I thought, you know, do they want to just see how bad do I want this? Did they think that I could just use Love Island to get a try, and then think that was my easy way in? So, you know, it was kind of cool that then, like, 2 years after the try, I got an email through from Mr. Regal saying, you know, I've been keeping an eye on you, and you've stuck at it, and you've worked hard, and you've improved. So that's when I first got, they were interested in bringing me into NXT UK in 2018, but I was still in a contract at the time with NJPW. Yeah. And I could have went to Alex or Rich from NJPW and said, look, WWE want me now. That's my dream. So do you mind? But I kind of just thought, look, they've been good to me. They've, you know, at the time they were giving me a wage every month, NJPW, and I thought, you know, at least see out the terms of the contract, and then, you know, just be respectful to that. Whereas I feel like other people probably would have just said, you know, thanks guys, but I'm out of here. But you know, that company is the reason why I was able to wrestle so much, which then helped me improve so much, which is why WWE saw that, and then they were interested in me. So obviously I was still getting an income until the pandemic hit, and obviously everything went up. So part of me is like, oh, if I'd have just signed with WWE, I would have had this money coming in, but I wouldn't have been the wrestler that I was back then. So, like, everything happens for a reason. I've had all those reps now, and, you know, I had a contract offer, like, actually, like, recently with the company again. So I feel like stuff will happen soon, and like I say, everything happens for a reason and stuff.
So we could see you in NXT UK at some point.
Well, I'll not give anything away, but
no, not expecting to give anything away. We're not a dirt sheet podcast, but it would be awesome to see you, even from a fan point of view.
What the brand's missing, kind of, they don't really have someone that looks like me, and especially if I'm going to be that kind of heel Miz kind of mixed with Randy Orton card, you know, from doing reality TV, I can come in and be like, well, I'm a superstar, and I could have been here sooner if I wanted to, but I took my time and decided when I would come in, and there's so much I can do, kind of, and have like nice bits on and things. Just be a prick and get people to hit it, if that's what they want me to do. But then I have the experience from buttons and things. If they want me to be that baby face and that, you know, that guy the crowd get behind, I have so much experience from that. So I don't really mind, you know, what they want me to do, but I do feel like I have more fun, especially in front of an older demographic, like just being that cocky, I'm good looking, you know, look at me, like look at my physique compared to, like, just so much stuff I could do, and just fun like
all you have to do is play to that stigma that everyone originally give shit for. That's all you have to do, and then you're working them. Yeah.
It must have been nice though as well to obviously have William Regal stay in touch and tell you he's been watching you. I mean, that must have been a real good feeling for you.
Yeah, that was cool. Like to give him credit, I have kept in touch with him and sent him some matches and things, and I can email Mr. Regal, and within 5 minutes he'll email me back. Do you know what I mean? And he's busy, but he'll always get back to me like within like I say, like 10-15 minutes. There's an email reply from whatever I've sent to him. So it's just cool that I've got sort of someone that's as respected as him in the business that is sort of seen something in me and believes in me, and they want to bring me in, and that has been cool, definitely, especially after my triad, because when I finished the triad, I remember people were asking for feedback and stuff, and I waited till everyone had finished, and then Mr. Regal was coming towards me, and I said, like stupidly said, is there anything in particular that I need to work on? And as soon as he gave his reply, which was, well, why do you think there's just one thing that you would need to work on? You need to be working. Like, I just straight away was like, why did I ask that question?
Yeah.
But like, from what you've seen, is there anything like that really stands out that I need to improve on? But he gave me a great answer of like, you should never stop trying to work on everything so that you're as well rounded. Even a couple of times that he has watched my matches, he said, watch your pins and things, make sure you're properly pinning your opponent's shoulders and things. And he says, I've even had to tell Daniel Bryan and stuff like that recently when I've watched a match, and Daniel Bryan said to him, like, yeah, I mean, like sometimes you just forget these things, and so thank you for, so it's just cool that I have that communication and that contact with him.
Yeah. Absolutely. Obviously, before we wrap things up as well, we mentioned him earlier, so I'm going to ask you, because I mean, when he left WWE, he became the hottest free agent in the world. What was it like going one-on-one with Pac? Because there's a certain intensity with that guy, isn't there? I mean, what was that like?
I mean, again, like, it's funny how Joe books me for OTT. So, because I was so busy in England, he'll literally message me and say, "Hey, pal, are you free on this date?" And if I'm free, I'll say, "Yeah, I'm free." And then within a couple of days, he'll just send me a match graphic, and the match is there. So I'm like, "Yeah, I'm free." And then a couple of days passed, and he just sent me through Adam Maxted versus Pac, and the graphic was there, and I was just like, what? Like, okay, like, again, another big challenge to wrestle like one of the best in the world. Do you know what I mean? And I had to fly from Newcastle to Belfast, and I was delayed my flight. So I arrive in the venue, and Pac's already in his gear, and I've got like 20 minutes to get ready. So not only is it a huge match that I want to be calm and composed for, but I've got 20 minutes to get my shit together and get go out. But to this day, I do stand by. That's probably like my best match. And I learned a lot from him. He just said, like, just take your time and things, don't rush stuff. And I feel like we had good chemistry. Like, everything was pretty smooth that we did, and the crowd loved it. So it's a match that I'm proud of, and one of those matches that I wish was on like a YouTube or something, for example, because people could see, like, oh, okay, look what he's been doing more recently. Like, look at this match. But obviously companies have to make money, and it's pay on demand services and things, and I get that, but it's just a bit frustrating as a performer to if you want to get yourself out there a bit more, that your cat likes the camera more than I
do. I tell you right now, as soon as we start recording, she won't give a toss. Exactly. Honestly,
she knows what she knows what
she does. Honestly, she's terrible. But
that was a great match. Can't speak highly enough of him. He was so like nice and respectful.
Yeah, I can imagine he'd be someone.
He didn't know who I was, So I came in. I was just a young guy that wanted to obviously have a good match with him, and we did. And he was happy for it after. He actually asked him for feedback, as I always do, and he really didn't have much from me. He said, "No, man." He said, "I really enjoyed it. That was so much fun." So that was like a good, like, it's like when I went away and like I was by myself, it was like I can finally breathe, and like I was proud that I got through that and stuff.
It's high praise from Pac. Mm-hmm. That's really good feedback, isn't it? Like, if Pac's happy with the match, then I'd be happy too.
100%. Yeah, that was awesome.
Nah, obviously, we'll wrap up, but it's been an absolute pleasure, man. Like Callum said at the start, we've been really looking forward to this. We wanted you on for so long, and it has been an absolute pleasure, dude, because you are an awesome worker, but you're actually an awesome human being as well.
Yeah.
And it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on, man. And we'd love to do it again if you'd be coming back.
Well, maybe if I'm at NXT UK, we could do like what's going on and how things are going. Maybe in the future, definitely.
That sounds good to us, man.
A little catch up.
Fingers crossed.
Definitely. We will definitely keep in touch. But before we go as well, tell everybody where they can find you, social media, any merchandise.
Just Adam Maxted on Twitter and stuff. And there's actually pinned to my profile, there's some highlights from that Pac match. So if anyone's interested in going and checking that out, it's there on my page and stuff. So
awesome. I think I'll have a look at that after we're finished. Yeah, cool.
But Dude, we can't thank you enough. Honestly, it's been an absolute pleasure. I've loved every second of it.
Thanks,
and we'll
guys.
definitely be back on. But for now, Adam Maxted, thank you very much.
Thank you.